I've got a story to tell you today. This won't be a typical metal detecting video. You're not going to see me do any detecting, but I do want to tell you a story about one of my finds. And I found it right here in the bottom of this valley. This is the Tahlequah Valley. It was named after a Cherokee Indian word, Tahlequah, which means peace. At the bottom of this valley, which is about 4 miles long, there's a beautiful farm, and in the middle of the farm is a large white oak. And it's called the Tahlequah oak, or peace oak. It's where the Cherokee Council often met to hash out discrepancies and any troubles that maybe the tribes were having. I got permission to metal detect on the farm where I work. There's a trout farm on this farm, and the owner gave me permission to metal detect, and I made a really nice find in a little silver pin from World War II. It's a Navy Waves pin, and it belonged to a young lady who was born and grew up on this farm. The story that I uncovered was amazing to me. You know, for metal detectorists, a lot of times the things that we find, they remain a little bit of a mystery as to who they belong to, and it's nice whenever you find something that it's identifiable and you can trace it back to a person. And I was fortunate enough to be able to do that with this little pin, but I had no idea how incredible the story was. And I was just fortunate enough to be at the right place at the right time, talk to the right people, and the story just kind of opened itself up. So I want to share that story with you. I want to take you on a little trip down into the valley. This road that I'm on right now, as you can tell, it snakes its way down the valley. Up at the top of this valley, there's the Tahlequah Gap. The Appalachian Trail crosses it. So let's go on a little trip. I've got some photos of places around the farm, and I'm going to kind of talk you through the story as best I can, but I hope you enjoyed as much as I have. This valley and the farm in it really is just one of the most beautiful places, I think. I was amazed at the number of photos that I had taken in the last 3 years, really unaware. Just so many different ones to pick from while making this video. As you travel down the valley, as I traveled down it the first time, one of the things that I noticed was stack rock walls. That's uncommon for this area. Houses that were perfectly preserved in time. Beautiful homes. And just various things around the farm that just seemed to speak of time gone by. And I immediately began to wonder about the people that lived there. Here's the original home place, and it's in the backyard of this place that I found this silver pin. Another thing that caught my eye was this massive oak, and I later found out this is called the Tahlequah oak. While metal detecting in the backyard of the main house, I found an interesting little item and knew it to be silver, but as I cleaned it up, I got excited and realized that I had found my first piece of military history. This is a Navy Waves pin. As soon as I found this little pin, it was amazing to me how quickly the pieces of the story fell together. Just in talking to people on the farm, one of the workers mentioned that he remembered an older lady a few years back coming to the farm and walking around and revisiting what was once her home place. And he said that she must have been close to 90. Well, I did a little bit of mental calculation, and I realized that would put her right about the correct age to enlist in the Navy during World War II. And so I began to suspect, well, maybe this pin belonged to her. And then the same guy said, I think she wrote a book about the farm. And we Googled up the book, and somebody had done a short bio on her as the author. And in it confirmed that she was in the Navy. So I knew I was on the right track. And that was just really exciting to me. So I decided, well, I need to get this pin back. And a little more research, and a few days later, I was able to contact her daughter. In sending the pen back to her daughter gave me something, was just an incredible gift, especially for somebody like me who just loves history. Her mother did indeed author 2 books. One book is about her world travels, and she went into an incredible number of places across this earth, and a wonderful photography of indigenous tribes and uh, places all over the globe. I'm just amazed at the amount of traveling she did. But her daughter gave me an incredible gift, and it's a book, one of the books that her mother authored. And here's the book, Tahlequah. Her mother wrote a book about this farm, about the history of her family and the history of this Tahlequah Valley and its settlement. That is just a treasure trove for a metal detectorist and a person who loves history, because all of the places that I've wandered around on this farm and seen remnants of things that once were, I understand them so much more fully than I did before. The book's filled with old photos, and so now when I find things on the farm, whether it's a little suspender piece or coins or whatever farm implements, it seems to me now that there's a face behind that find, and that doesn't happen that often. And so I'm so appreciative to have that book, and it's just made metal detecting on this farm that much more enjoyable. Here are some photos from the book. This is Samuel. This would be Virginia's grandfather. Now, his father was the one that originally settled in the valley. Samuel's fingerprints are all over this valley. This is Tahlequah Baptist Church. He did some woodworking inside that can still be seen. As I was wandering around the graveyard, I found where Samuel and several other Ramseys are buried, and next to his headstone was a CSA marker. He was a member of the Confederate Army. There is also a picture of the flume mill, which they used to grind corn, also generate power. That was quite a novelty. People used to visit the farm, where they also had a post office and a general store, and just kind of make a weekend out of it. This is Robert and Ardenia. This would be Virginia's parents. Ardenia taught school at a little schoolhouse about a mile down the road. Little 2-room place. It's still there. I've been inside of it. And this photo of the children in front of the school, I want you to notice the bare feet. There was not a lot of money back then. There's Ardenia to the right. Virginia grew up on the farm, and I really appreciated her description of playing beneath the Tahlequah oak, which was a gathering place for the Cherokee. She used to imagine that she was playing with Cherokee Indian children. Virginia never lived on the farm after the Navy, but she did visit for one short visit right as soon as she got out. And there was a local girl who needed a uniform for a marching band, and Virginia gave her her uniform. And we believe that to be the time that the pen was lost. Virginia left the farm and didn't come back, but she traveled the world. Here's a picture of her and her husband Bob at the North Pole. They went there in a nuclear-powered icebreaker. Just an incredible lady. I wish I could have met her. She never lost her spark for living. I love reading the things that she wrote. I count myself very fortunate to have been able just to find this pen and to uncover the story that was behind it and meet the people that I've met. I hope in the process of your metal detecting at some point you have a find in which you're able to dig into the history just like I have.